AI-generated audiobooks are here, and depending on who you ask, they're either a gift to humanity or the final nail in the coffin of storytelling. Kokoro 82M, an AI that turns ebooks into audiobooks, is making waves, and not just because it can pump out an entire book in the time it takes a human narrator to clear their throat. The debate is heating up. Is AI a game changer for accessibility and affordability, or are we about to drown in a sea of soulless robotic narration? There's a clear distinction between fiction and nonfiction when it comes to AI narration. With nonfiction, AI has a pretty strong case. A good nonfiction audiobook just needs to be clear, steady, and free of weird vocal tics that make you question the narrator's life choices. You're there for information, not a performance. If AI can deliver that in a way that's easy on the ears, does it really matter whether a human recorded it? Probably not. In fact, AI might even have some advantages: neutral tone, consistent pacing, and no risk of a narrator getting overly dramatic about supply chain economics. But fiction? That's where things get complicated. Fiction isn't just about words. It's about interpretation. A great human narrator doesn't just read, they perform. They give characters distinct voices, pause for dramatic effect, and add emotion in ways that elevate the text. Sometimes they even change how we experience the story, bringing out nuances we might not have noticed on our own. AI, even at its best, doesn't do that. It can mimic human speech, but it doesn't understand what it's saying. It has no instincts for drama, humor, or suspense. It won't slow down at a moment of dread unless someone explicitly programs it to. It won't make a sarcastic line land. It won't add that extra breath of emotion that makes a final goodbye hit just a little harder. Then again, human narrators aren't perfect either. Reader response theory tells us that every reader brings something unique to a book, and that includes narrators. A human narrator's interpretation isn't necessarily right. It's just one version. If you've ever found yourself thinking, why does this character sound like a 19th century aristocrat when they're supposed to be a teenage hacker? You know what I mean. AI, by contrast, is neutral. It won't overact, misinterpret, or make creative choices that distract from the text. The problem is that it also won't make good creative choices. It's a blank slate, which is great if you just want words spoken, but terrible if you want words performed. Some people compare this to the printing press wiping out scribes, but the printing press made books better, more accessible, more consistent, and in many cases, more accurate. AI-generated narration, at least right now, isn't making audiobooks better. It's making them cheaper. And when cost-cutting trumps quality, we all lose. This isn't about AI taking over the top-tier, award-winning audiobooks narrated by professionals who breathe life into every sentence. It's about AI flooding the market with good enough narration that makes publishers wonder if they even need humans anymore. That's the real risk. AI doesn't have to be great to change the industry. It just has to be cheap and passable. If AI takes over the bottom and middle tiers of narration, new human narrators won't have a way to build their skills. The best narrators in the world don't start out as the best. They start out recording obscure fantasy novels about warrior cats in a basement studio, and they get better over time. AI cuts off that ladder entirely. So where does that leave us? AI narration is inevitable, and it's going to improve. Soon, it'll be harder to tell human from machine, especially in nonfiction. But fiction? That's still a different story. For now, if you care about performance, about interpretation, about the magic of hearing a story told well, human narration still has the upper hand. The real question is whether we'll still have human narrators in the future, or if we'll all just get used to a world where every voice sounds a little too perfect, a little too smooth, and just a little too dead inside.